Welcome to the Tech Mind Factory video blog. I'm super excited that you visited my channel. I hope you will find this video helpful and interesting. If so, please subscribe at the end because this will be the sign for me to produce more videos. And now, enjoy watching. This is another video from the series Be a Better Azure Developer. And in this video, I would like to talk not only about development side, but also I would like to talk about the problem that is faced by many organizations. And this problem is related to access to the web or some other types of the applications for different kind of users. So try to imagine that if we are an organization and we have many different internal users, we would like to provide the access for those users for the applications we own. But also on the other side, there can be partners. And we as organization work with those partners and we would like to provide access to our web applications also for these partners. And at the end, of course, there can be customers and end users. And those users would like to also use some of the web applications or other type of applications that we own as organization. And for those end users, we would like to also provide access. So in this video, we will talk about how to use Azure Active Directory and Azure Active Directory B2C identity services available in the Azure cloud to provide access to the web application for different types of users. So let's jump in. So the question is how to provide access to applications for organizations' users, partners, and customers. So you can try to imagine that providing access only for internal users in the organization is quite easy. But what about the access for applications where we would like to provide access for different types of users? So not only organizations' users, but also we would like to provide access for partners and customers. And in this case, we can use identity services available in the Azure cloud to configure such setup. So let's look on this slide. What we have here. We can use Azure Active Directory for managing organizations' users and partners. So we can create a tenant in Azure Active Directory for managing organizations' users, but also we can use a business-to-business B2B feature available in the Azure Active Directory to invite partners to our organization and manage their permissions. And the other identity service that is available in the Azure cloud is called Azure Active Directory Business to Customer, so Azure Active Directory B2C. And we can use this kind of identity service available in the Azure cloud for managing customers' accounts. So, right now, what's happening on the left part of this diagram, we can see that there is Azure Active Directory together with Azure Active Directory B2C. And that's correct because we can federate Azure Active Directory B2C with Azure Active Directory tenant, and then we will be able to provide access for different kinds of users. So not only for internal users, but we will be able to provide access for partners and also for end users. And it's worth to mention that external identity providers can be also integrated with B2C. So if we would like to provide access for our customers, for end users using Facebook or Google, that's also possible. And of course, what about the application side? And here is also the answer to this question, because we can integrate our web application. So in this video, we will use ASP .NET Core web application. We can integrate this app with Microsoft Authentication Library. So Microsoft Authentication Library is a library that provides easy configuration for our web or mobile or any different kind of applications. We can easily integrate those applications with the Azure Active Directory and Azure Active Directory B2C identity services. So if we look on this diagram, we will see a possible solution for our question. So how to provide access for organizations, users, partners, and customers. So on the right side, we can see that in the Azure cloud, there is Azure Active Directory and Azure Active Directory Business to Customer identity services. And of course, Azure Active Directory tenant is federated with B2C. It means that at the end, on the application side, there will be a single web page available for users to sign in. So all kind of users will be able to sign in using the same experience. And of course, I will show it during the demo, but I would like you to know that at the end we can provide the same login page and registration page for all different kinds of users. And of course, at the end, we can also integrate external identity providers, what we can see on the left side of the diagram. So if we would like to provide Facebook or Google authentication here in the B2C, it's also possible. And then, of course, we can integrate our web applications with Azure Active Directory B2C and provide access for different kinds of users. Great, so it's time for demo, so let's see it in action. Here is the management blade for my tenant in Azure Active Directory, and it's available in the Azure portal. And on the left, we can see that there is a section called users. So let's open it. We can see that there are some users, but this is not the topic of the conversation here. We can see at the top that there are two buttons, plus new user, plus new guest user. So what is the difference between those two buttons? If we would like to create internal user inside our application, so we would like to add new user in our Azure Active Directory tenant, we should use new user option. But if you would like to, for instance, invite partner to our organization, we should use this new guest user option. So let's see how to do it. So first, we will add new user to our organization. So let's click new user. And we can see that there are two options, invite user and create user. In this case, we will use create user tab. And we can see that there is also information that this option create user, create a new user in your organization. This user will have a username like alice@danielkrzyczkowski@hotmail.onmicrosoft.com. So this is my domain. So this will be internal user in our organization. So here, what I can do, I can type, for instance, Daniel internal, like this. And the name of my domain, I will not repeat it, but because it's hard to pronounce my surname. But here we can also provide the name for the user. So in this case, this will be Daniel internal, like this. And we can click also create button, but before that, there is an option to auto-generate the password. So we can see this password. So we can see that there is a password display. We can copy this password for now. And we can then click create button. And right now, the new user is created. Of course, we can assign different permissions to this user and some kind of stuff, but this is not the topic of this video, so I will not do it. But the case is that we created new organization's user. So in this case, Daniel internal. So right now, if we try to log in with this account to our organization, it should work. And also, user should use the one-time password that we will provide, that we copied before. But before we jump into the web application, let's also open the new guest user tab. So I will click new user, new guest user, and we can see that right now invite user is selected. And there is also information here that invite a new guest user to collaborate with your organization. The user will be emailed an invitation they can accept in order to begin collaborating. So that's the second option, and we can use this option to invite partners to our organization. So in this case, let's say that the user is called John Partner, like this. So we can type this name, so John Partner, and then we have to provide an email address of this person, so of this partner. So in this case, I will type deviland@outlook.com. So let's assume that this is the email of John Partner. And right now, what we can do, we can also add a personal message, but we will not do it in this moment. So we can click invite button. And right now, John Partner is being invited. So in the mailbox of devisland@outlook.com, there should be an invitation to access this Azure Active Directory tenant. So let's see it. So here is the mailbox of John Partner, and we can see that new invitation is received. So here we can click accept invitation in the email message, and then we will be assigned to this Azure Active Directory tenant, and we will be able to collaborate with organization as a partner. Of course, before that we have to review the permissions and click accept button, and after a few seconds we will be able to sign in. Perfect. Everything is ready. Right now John Partner can access our organization's web application as a partner, and we will see it in the next minutes of this video. Now if we get back to Users tab in the Azure Active Directory tenant blade, we will see that there is Daniel internal user, and we can see that user type is member, and there is also John Partner, and user type is set to guest. Great, so right now we provided access for the partner, so John Partner in this case. We also created organization's user, so Daniel internal. And right now what we are going to talk about is federation between Azure Active Directory and Azure Active Directory B2C. Let's close this blade, and right now let's open Enterprise Applications tab. And here is the place where we can manage our applications inside our organization. So this section is called Enterprise Applications. And we can see here that I already registered a few kind of applications. And the application that we will use in this demo is called Identity Developer Templates Azure AD OpenID Connect. So I created just a simple application here in Azure Active Directory tenant. And we will use this application to provide access for our users inside organization and also for the partners. So let's see on the properties of this application. We can see that there is application ID, object ID, and some other properties. And the case is that right now we would like to provide access to this application only for accepted users. So by default, no user will have access to this application. We have to manually assign the user for this application. So to do it, we have to click Properties on the left side. And here is the option called User Assignment Required. So if this option is enabled, like in this case, we have to manually, as an administrator, we have to assign users to this application. So if we go to users and groups, we will see that there is already one user, but now let's click add user. We can select users, and right now what we can do, we can add Daniel internal, so our internal user, and we can also add John Partner, so the partner of our organization. So let's click select, and then we have to click assign button. And right now John Partner and Daniel internal, those two users, have access to application. So let's see what to do next. So next we will federate Azure Active Directory tenant with Azure Active Directory B2C tenant. Let's see how to do it. So I will close this tab right now, this blade, and I will also close Enterprise Applications blade. And from the left side, right now, let's click App Registrations. And right now, there should be a list of applications registered in my Azure Active Directory tenant. And we can see that there is Identity Developer Templates Azure AD OpenID Connect. So let's click it. And what we need to federate this application with Azure Active Directory B2C tenant is the application client ID. So let's copy it. And also we will need a secret for this application. So here is the section called Client Secrets, and as you can see, I've already created app secret. And we have to also copy this secret because we will use this secret during the federation. So I've already copied it. So now let's open Azure Active Directory B2C tenant. Here is my Azure Active Directory B2C tenant, and on the left side we can choose user flows. So in this case we will not play with identity experience framework and custom policies, we will use user flows in this case. And I've already created a new user flow for sign in and sign up. So let's click it. And here there is a section called identity providers. So let's open it. And we can see that in this user flow, we have three identity providers. Facebook, so we will enable customers, so end users, and we will enable them to sign in using Facebook account. There is also local account, so the customers will be able to register and then sign in. And there is also a third type, Open ID Connect. And we can see that the name for this is Azure AD Login. So let's talk about this OpenID Connect first. So now let's click Manage Identity Providers, and we can see different types of identity providers. So let's click OpenID Connect right now. And this is the blade to configure custom identity provider using OpenID Connect protocol. And as we can see, the provided name is Azure AD Login. There is also metadata URL here. So if I copy this URL, we will see that this is, let me open it, this is a well-known OpenID configuration for my Azure Active Directory tenant where I registered our application. And then if I get back, there is also client ID. We copied in the Azure Active Directory tenant blade. And also there is a client secret we copied. So here we have to provide metadata URL, we have to provide a client ID of the application registered in the Azure Active Directory tenant, we have to also provide a client secret, and then we have to also provide information about the scope, so in this case OpenID, the response type, so in this case code, and response mode should be set to form post. And of course, there is also a section called Identity Provider Claims Mapping. So user ID will be under sub claim, display name will be under name, and given name will be under given name. And also I included family name and email. So once we configure everything here, we can click Save. So I've already done it. So I've already configured this OpenID Connect. So let's close it right now. And also let's talk about the Facebook integration here. So we can see that there is also Facebook integrated. So what I did, I went to the Facebook developer portal and I created and registered the application there. And then what I have to do, I have to first of all set the name for this identity provider, so in this case Facebook. And from the Facebook developer portal, I took client ID and also client secret. So right now, what will happen on the login screen, I will have chance to provide username and password, but also I will be able to click sign in with Facebook and sign in with Azure Active Directory. Before we open ASP .NET Core web application, it's also worth to mention that I have to register application in the Azure Active Directory B2C tenant. And of course, this is not the same application I created in the Azure Active Directory tenant. That's the separate application, but with the application I register in the Azure Active Directory tenant, I'm able to configure federation and provide access to my application using Azure Active Directory B2C. So as you can see, here is my another app I registered, in this case Identity Developer Templates Azure Active Directory B2C web app. And I will use this web app client ID to configure ASP.NET Core web application. So let's jump to the ASP.NET Core web app and see this sample in action. Here it is, Visual Studio 2019 and Identity Developer Templates project that is available on my GitHub. And in this case, we will use ASP.NET Core Razor Pages web app. Before I launch this application, let's open app settings JSON file and we can see that there is a section called Azure AD B2C. And in this section, we have to provide the instance, so our B2C tenant, Also, we have to provide application client ID, callback path, domain, and also the name of the policies that we will use. So in this case, as you can see, there is a policy for sign in and sign up that we configured in the Azure portal. Perfect. So let's launch this application right now and see the login page. Here it is, ASP .NET Core Razor Pages web application, and we can see that at the top there is sign in button. So let's click this button, and after a few seconds, login page should be displayed. And before that, it's worth to mention that we can customize this interface in the Azure portal. So as you can see, I changed the logo of my organization to be TechMind Factory. Okay, great. So let's talk about different types of users here. So what I can do as an external user, so like a customer, for instance, I can click sign up button, and here I can provide the email address. I can confirm this email address using the code that will be sent to this address. I can provide new password, confirm this password, and create this account here. Also, what I can do, I can select login with Facebook. So here I can sign in with Facebook account, and this will be also possible. And right now, if I'm a partner of this organization, I can click sign in with Azure Active Directory. So let's click this button right now. And after a few seconds, we see that we will be redirected to the login page. And here we can provide the partner account. So as you remember, we created John Partner account under devisland@outlook.com address. So let's click devisland@outlook.com. Let's provide the password for this account and let's click sign in. And after a few seconds, we should see that we sign in to the application and there is a welcome page with hello text. Perfect. And of course, right now I can click sign out and we can try to sign in as an organization's user. So let's click sign in button once again. And right now let's click sign in with Azure AD once again and login page should be displayed. Then we have to click use another account and let's use the account that we created for the new organization user. So as you remember, this was Daniel internal, like this, and the domain of our organization. So we can click next right now. We have to, of course, provide the password. So the password that was displayed in the Azure portal, and we can click sign in button. And of course, we can see that we have to update our password. So we have to provide the current one. And then we can change our password. So let me type another password and then we can click sign in. And after a few seconds, we should see the welcome screen of our ASP.NET Core web application. Perfect. So right now we know how to secure our web application with Azure Active Directory B2C identity service in the cloud, but also we know how to enable access for different types of users. So for the internal users in our organization, for the partners, and also for the external users like customers. All helpful links will be available in the video description. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting and helpful. If you have any additional questions, do not hesitate to contact me either on Twitter or LinkedIn. And of course, I encourage you to visit my blog techmindfactory.com. See you in the next video.